Amanda, you're indoctrinating our children with perversion and pedophilia grooming. Your evil agenda is getting print and national coverage. Congrats. If you continue your LGBT agenda on our children, we're gonna put your fat, evil, commie, pedo ass in the dirt very soon. You cannot hide. We know where you work, you live. You have a large target on your back. Click, click. See you soon.
When I opened this email on August 14th, 2022, my hands started to shake, and I immediately began gasping for breath. You might be asking yourself, why did Amanda receive such an email? Surely she did something heinous. My parents asked me the same question.
This is the story of the culture wars that Amanda found herself in.
Hundreds packed a school board meeting with emotions running high.
Look at how you act, and your children are watching.
Banning LGBT books isn't going to stop anyone from being gay.
They're sexually explicit, they're pornographic, they're disgusting.
The district did prepare for the worst. They had police here, extra security, and even metal detectors at the doors.
I love to read. I've always loved to read. I wanted to be able to help kids find books that could take them to other worlds, learn about the world around them, become more empathetic, learn about people that are not like them, but also see themselves in books. My name is Amanda Jones. I was born here in Louisiana. And I have lived here my entire life. I work at the same school that I attended middle school. First, I started as an English teacher, and then I became a school librarian. And I've worked there for 22 years so far. As a school librarian, I've been following censorship for a year or two in schools. And I saw that content was going to be discussed at our public library meeting. And so I was hoping that they weren't going to try to censor books in our community. So I went to the public library board meeting just to talk about censorship.
I'd like to call the meeting to order, please.
And I talked about how harmful it can be when you censor whole sections of society or books, and the parents' own individual rights, more about censorship, particularly from the LGBTQ community or the BIPOC community, and how harmful that is. It's not really about protecting children, it's about censoring the rights of others, targeting of books about or written by historically marginalized communities. It's about using fake library controversies for political gain, and it's about money. It was just a speech on censorship. I didn't talk about any particular book. I just gave a blanket censorship speech. Thank you for allowing me to speak. That's all I did. It kind of blew up though.
The war on libraries in Louisiana began in 2018 in the neighborhood parish of Lafayette.
Hi, I'm Miss P. I am the drag queen for Drag Queen Story Hour this hour. Welcome!
In October 2018, the parish announced plans to host a drag queen story hour in their public library.
From the stars in the sky to the fish in the sea.
and Yulan felt loved.
What followed were protests, a lawsuit, and a moratorium on using libraries and meeting places. One can understand the parents' objection to Drag Queen Story Hour, but in Lafayette, it was used as a pretext for a much larger attack.
In other news, the Lafayette City Parish Council voting on a resolution that opposes the library's Drag Queen Storytime event.
The majority of the City Council audience raised their hands in opposition to Drag Queen Storytime.
It created this huge uproar, and of course, their whole messaging was, you're sexualizing children.
And one of the leaders of the opposition to this program was Michael Lunsford.
Well, originally we were founded because we found that our public officials were not telling the whole truth, especially when it came to raising taxes. They would tell you the part that they wanted you to know, so you would agree, oh no, we have to raise taxes. And we would start doing research and find out, well, wait a minute, they have a surplus that they could operate for 5 years.
How did it segue into pornography?
Well, so the segue was Drag Queen Storytime.
He used this protest against this one program to drum up this huge controversy about the library.
They decided they were going to take a political stance and use your tax dollars to promote a political agenda in Lafayette. We said, that's not the role of the library.
When the library director at the time decided, well, I'm going to show those no good conservatives a thing or two. We're going to have Drag Queen Storytime, and we're going to punch them in the nose with this. And so, as far as I know, we are still, to this day, the only organization in the state of Louisiana, maybe in the nation, that has stopped a public-funded Drag Queen Storytime. And we did it. We stopped it. But the question became, well, whose idea was this? Where did this come from? Who's responsible?
Well, a program coming to the Lafayette Public Library has become the topic of conversation across Acadiana. Drag Queen Storytime for children.
He took this one program and said, look, the library is trying to sexualize your children. And so he sort of turned it into this culture war against the library. And so he has brought it up again and again and again. Anytime he wanted to have a book challenged, anytime he wanted to bring up any controversy with regards to the library, you hear Drag Queen Storytime.
There were also negative comments on social media, some calling it sick, poisonous, disgusting.
That's where the battle began. Once we started going through that process, we replaced every single one of those board members April of last year in 2023.
Well, the president of the Lafayette Library Board of Control is tonight responding to new criticism.
This comes after a woman was escorted out by deputies from yesterday's meeting during the public comment period.
We know Ms. Armbruster stood on the street corner outside the library protesting Drag Queen Storytime.
You're out of order.
There is something.
That's the voice of Lafayette Library Board of Control President Robert Judge ordering for Melanie Brevis to be removed from the room in a video that went viral on social media after Monday's meeting.
Disturbing the peace does not mean disturbing to Robert Judge. What I was saying, I'm sure, was very disturbing to him, and I 100% meant for it to be. And I meant to say that so it would be on public record.
And he is saying that...
What rule did she break? That's a violation of her free speech.
I was not raising my voice. I was not making threats. I wasn't, using any curse words. I was, within my rights as a citizen to speak my opinion.
And why are there 2 deputies in a room for this many people?
He's had 2 sheriff's deputies always at the front of the room, facing out to the audience. It's intimidating. And he had both of them escort me out.
It's time to come in.
I know. Well, everybody can see this.
Yeah. This is a library. Do y'all realize this is a library?
Yeah. That's ridiculous. What's the rule? What rule?
And then they came to my parish. And allow them to make choices for their own child without trampling on the rights of other parents. On the night I spoke up at the library meeting, I was one of almost 30 speakers who registered their concern about possible censorship and book banning. If the issue is really about parental rights and protecting children, 2 men, one from out of town and one local, attended the meeting.
For whatever reason, Livingston is where the librarian, who you may have interviewed by now, Amanda Jones, resides, and she showed up at a library board of control meeting. I showed up at the same meeting, and she said, if you move these books, then you're not on the right side of history, or something to that effect. We exposed that. We told the world this is what she said.
It is not what I said, but this is what their website said about me. Even as obscenities have been thrown your way at these meetings and harm. After I dared to speak, they zeroed in on yours truly. As we have seen in St. Tammany and Lafayette parishes, it's not really about protecting children, it's about censoring the rights of others, targeting of books about or written by historically marginalized
What is in the children's book in the library that they say is not pornography? When you ask them on another day, oh, that's not pornography. There's no pornography in the library. But when I read it out loud, it's pornography, I should be arrested. It doesn't even make sense to me.
Citizens for New Louisiana, they have a website and they have several social media pages across different platforms. They have posted that they are coming for all 64 parish libraries in Louisiana. And so far they've hit about 5. They essentially accused me of sex crimes, that I was trying to push pornography on 6-year-olds, because it is illegal in Louisiana to give pornography to children. And that is very damaging. I'm an educator, I work with children. Do you know how damaging that is to my career to say that? I've spent 22 years working in my community with children, and I've built up a solid reputation, and now half the community thinks I'm some kind of pedophile, or they like to say the word groomer, groomer or pedophile or pervert that wants to give kids pornography, and I would never do that. I would never do that.
Amanda's story isn't unique. Dozens of librarians were harassed, dismissed, or forced to resign all across the U.S. In Michigan, a politically divided state, the aim of the attack is not just on the individuals, but on the very idea of a public library. According to the American Library Association, over 2,000 books were banned or challenged in the United States.
The problems began here in early 2022 when a mother checked out a book out of the public library here. It was a book called Genderqueer. Controversial book here in the United States.
My name is Maya Kobabe. I am the author of Genderqueer, a memoir, which is one of the most challenged books in the United States right now. Genderqueer is the story of my life. It focuses specifically on memories that have to do with gender, identity, sexuality, and then coming out to family, friends.
It includes a lot of illustrations that include sex acts. And so the mother brought this to the attention of the library here. And the library responded by moving the book behind the counter so that no one could see it unless you asked for it.
You told me that it began with genderqueer, but then there was escalation of...
Yeah, it started to escalate, and I think that I know that there was a list circulating that came out. I don't know if it was Moms for Liberty or another one of these political action groups circulating lists of books that either talked about critical race theory, any kind of LGBT plus type of identity, but they've had pretty much what were hit lists.
Moms for Liberty is holding its national summit in Tampa this weekend. That convention kicking off today with Governor...
It began as a local organization of moms in Florida, organizing against school closings and other COVID restrictions. But it mushroomed into a national organization with more than 100 chapters with political ambitions. It helped transform library wars into a new front in the larger culture war that's divided the United States.
We have drawn a very clear line in the sand that says our school system is for educating kids, not indoctrinating kids.
Moms for Liberty doesn't have like a national book list. There was never a list of books that we put out and said, parents, be concerned about these books.
What is one moment, what is booklooks.com?
I'm aware of a website called booklooks.com where parents can go and see some of the books that other parents are concerned about.
Booklooks.com has been used in Florida extensively. It's essentially a Cliff Notes for books.
Yeah.
So you go through without even having to read the book. I'm going to just hold it up so our audience can see what it looks like. This is the one for All Boys Aren't Blue, which is one of the books Moms for Liberty has pushed
Everyone
to have
should go and see the content in this book. That's such a good idea.
And so what happens is you can do keyword searches and find certain keywords.
Like rape?
You can find sure.
Or anal rape or dildo.
You can find all sorts
those
of
types
keywords.
of words. But like
wait, hold on, wait, let me finish my question.
Okay,
then
great,
you can answer.
sure.
I'm going to give you time to answer, but I got to ask you first.
No, yeah, I got the question.
And so what you find is the keywords that you find, the N-word, anything, words like you just used, then you'll get out of context passages from the book, and then based on that, Moms for Liberty members are going to places like Broward County School Board meetings, reading out of context passages from these books, and then demanding that the school board remove them.
So what's
that is the way.
Yeah.
The question I'm asking is, what is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue isn't appropriate for students to read?
In what context is a strap-on dildo acceptable for public school?
And you want to promote and support this evil? These things go against nature itself.
There was suddenly all these library board meetings, which are the most boring public meetings you could ever attend. Okay, normally there's no one who attends these meetings.
It's just ridiculous that this is even a question, that we're banning books right now.
Good versus evil is what it is.
On Tuesday, voters in Jamestown Township rejected renewing a millage that would support the community's public library.
It made me very sad because libraries are for everyone, no matter what walk of life you are from or what worldview you hold. Libraries are there to welcome you and to be the space of public discourse and ideas. And we should welcome the ideas that libraries hold. And so to have one group of people be so adamant against another group of people really broke my heart. And I really never thought I'd see anything quite like that.
Conservatives in Jamestown Township, Michigan, same people constantly crying about free speech, voted to defund their library because it has LGBTQ books. Without these funds, the library will be forced to close. You can even forget the homophobia for a minute. If you don't want your kid reading specific books, maybe look at what books they're bringing home. Parent your kid. If you only want your kid reading Christian books, start a book club at your church. This is just straight up, outright homophobia.
It's such a troubling story to cover. In America, I can speak for America, people are very happy. They have this beautiful view of what America used to be like. And anytime things change, they assume it's going to be for the worse. You can look back to the 1950s, and families were so upset about rock and roll. They thought that Elvis Presley was going to corrupt their children.
The obscenity and vulgarity of the rock and roll music is obviously a means by which the white man, his children, can be driven to the level with a
Why I believe that is because I know how it feels when you sing it. I know what it does to you. The evil feeling that you feel when you sing it.
Same sort of struggles they had with interracial marriage soon after that.
The Lovings didn't know that it was a crime for a white person to marry a Negro in Virginia. They found out the hard way.
I think this is part of the same thing. As society begins to change, there is always a pushback. People are worried that somehow these books are going to corrupt their children and literally turn them gay.
We know very clearly from our work around the country is that there are 5 vectors of attack for book bans, and only one of them is the right to read. The others are anti-LGBTQ. There are attacks on black and brown communities as well. Very much these are civil rights and human rights attacks.
Attacks against books are as old as the Republic. One of the most known cases was the Scopes monkey trial in Tennessee, where teaching Charles Darwin's theory of evolution was on trial.
Charles Darwin's theory that all mankind had descended from a common ancestor, a so-called missing link, had set off fireworks. John T. Scopes, a Dayton biology teacher, had decided to test a new Tennessee law that forbade the teaching of any theory that denied the divine creation of man. He deliberately read Darwin's theory of evolution to his high school class, and just as deliberately, he was arrested and indicted. Then the whole nation jumped in with both feet. The issue was no longer the innocence or guilt of Scopes, but rather the final death struggle between two basic human philosophies, fundamentalism versus modernism.
The monkey trial was a particular low moment for attacks on academia and attacks on schools. We're seeing similar situations in many states that are trying to outlaw teaching of critical race theory, trying to outlaw the teaching of gender studies and sexuality.
Resident Salem Sousley said Patmos Library had a pride section on display featuring a book called Gender Queer.
Combining that with the local level censorship activities
started targeting the library and its funding because they believe that representation of LGBTQ plus people is the equivalent of grooming kids for sexual exploitation.
Attacks coming from proxies of parent rights groups who are using the mantle of parental control and parental concern to extend their political reach. We're seeing the attacks on free expression combined with the attacks on the sex ed and gender studies as being almost a perfect storm for censorship.
What we're doing at American Principles Project is we're building an NRA-style organization for families.
The left is winning this war.
If you're not going to stand up for the family, if you're going to come for our kids, if you're going to try and destroy their innocence, if you're going to take away my rights as a parent, we're coming for you. We are going to unelect you. We are going to make sure that everyone knows that you think it's okay to sexualize kids. If you're destroying the innocence of children and trying to destroy the American family, you're the worst villain of all, and we're going to make you pay a price for that.
When COVID restrictions came into place here, there was a big push against that, especially in conservative communities. And what that did is it led an already created structure and communication between conservative people on political issues.
The story of how COVID and the government's response to it has become just another battleground in the culture wars is probably the least understood and rarely told precursor to the attack on libraries.
You started seeing organizations like Texans for Vaccine Choice Form, Oklahomans for Vaccine Choice Form, and that came out of this new concept at that time called health freedom or medical freedom. And that became linked to the Tea Party down in Texas and the libertarian movement. And they started taking a lot of money from donors that would fund the Tea Party, and the political far right down in Texas would also fund these groups. And then in 2020, they started to protest against vaccines, but against masks and social distancing. And that's when it became a full-on anti-science movement.
These extremists, they pick up their causes. So the same extremists right now, 3 years ago, their cause was COVID and masks, and they didn't want to get vaccinated, and they didn't want to wear masks and all that. And now it's books, and they just switched. Right now, we're seeing a rise in white Christian nationalism in the United States. It's people who are trying to force their religion on everyone else. They're trying to dominate, take the power, make everyone conform and do everything that they think is correct.
America and Christianity are like baseball and apple pie, and we celebrate them together.
Christian nationalism is a political movement that attempts to establish privilege and dominance for Christian people in the United States. The idea that this is a Christian nation that was founded by Christian people, and therefore, because I'm a Christian in the United States, I get an elevated place above everyone else at this table. By dint of my religious identity, I'm more of an American than you are. You hear language about war for God's army to mobilize a lot from Christian nationalists. You hear this in times when they feel most threatened. The United States will be majority-minority in a few decades, and so there's a feeling on the part of Christians, especially white Christians, that they're losing their dominant place in American culture. They feel threatened. They believe the country has lost its way. We are facing an apocalypse, is what they'll say. And when people feel threatened, they react. They act out. They strike with a vengeance.
Ban the books.
Ban the books.
Ban the books.
Ban the books.
Think of all the minds and hearts they are infecting. Ban the books.
Ban the books.
Let's ban those books.
Ban the books.
Our fragile little angels need protecting. So it's high time these disturbing books were all stacked up and burned. I know there was a book about book burning, Fahrenheit something or other, but I never read it because it was banned. Slavery, prostitution, and polygamy aren't nice. Since it's full of crap like that, let's ban the Bible. Ban the Bible.
Ban the Bible.
Ban the Bible.
Ban the Bible.
Think of all the minds and hearts it is infecting. Ban the Bible.
Ban the Bible.
Let's ban the Bible. Because our precious little angels need protecting.
Politicians have known forever that it is much easier to go after a book, to censor a book, even to burn a book, than it is to go after individuals or populations.
You see, they are not mad because we're burning. They're mad at what we are burning.
Here in Nashville, they threw books like Harry Potter and Twilight into the fire.
Many of the censorship actions that are happening around the country are really proxy attacks on people.
I decided to sue Michael Lunsford and Ryan Timms from the Facebook page Bayou State of Mind for defamation. I had no choice. I have filed three criminal complaints total, 2 against the posts, and then 1 for the death threat, and nothing was done. I mean, nothing was done, nothing's been done. I'm all alone. I have, I bought pepper spray, a taser. We got extra security cameras around my home. I'm even scared to go outside at night to throw away the garbage in the trash can. I felt like dragging my feet. I did not want to go in. I did not want to see those 2 men and their smug faces. Joseph Long, one of the attorneys for the other side, painted me out as some far-left liberal who wanted to stifle some poor parent's freedom of speech. But the judge seemed to have made up her mind. I never met her before, but I did remember her election campaign.
I'm Erica Sledge, candidate for District Court Judge in Livingston, St. Helena, and Tangipahoa parishes. I'm a conservative Christian. We deeply care about our community. We're involved with our children's school and church.
It was really hard when the judge announced that it was just their opinion. It was really hard to hear that. I was shaking. I was so mad. I was so mad I was shaking, and I've had to go to a lot of therapy. I'm very open with it. I've had to go to a lot of therapy when you're faced with this much hate in your community. I couldn't believe the judge was saying, oh, that's just their opinion. It's not their opinion. They essentially accused me of sex crimes.
She sued for defamation, not for gay load.
Well, if you look at her petition to the court,
yes,
she asked for an injunctive relief, which means she wanted us to shut up.
About her?
It's not clear. If I'm not allowed to talk about her, I'm not allowed to talk about librarians. Am I not allowed to talk about, what am I not allowed to talk about?
It's very heartbreaking because she's essentially saying that it's okay for these two men to target and harass me and defame me. She categorized me as a public figure, and so I am scared for what it means for other educators, because you can just claim someone as a public figure, and so other educators or other librarians are going to be afraid, or other citizens are going to be afraid to speak out.
In the next phase in the war on libraries, the battle moved from community board meetings to the Louisiana State House, where there's a Republican supermajority. In a politically divided America, the attack on libraries has become yet another wedge issue to retain political control.
The library issue is what I would call a moral panic. Issues involving children are really easy political movements to pick up. You can get a lot of political oomph out of things used to protect children, and the book banning issue is just that right topic for a moral panic to create some political currency. Today, one of several library bills is going to be heard in committee. In its original state, the bill would have removed a Master's of Library Science degree from the list of qualifications to become a certified librarian in Louisiana.
I think the bigger question for this committee is why there is so much contention among our library systems in the state. The chaos, the politicization of the Lafayette Parish Board of Control is all politics.
Now, there's a bunch of cultural issues that surround all of this, and I'm fearful that that's what you're doing. You're politicizing and culturalizing an issue.
It's just one of several library bills that are going to be heard this session. It's honestly one of the less extreme bills that are going to be heard.
Give me the more extreme one.
The most extreme one was filed just a couple of days ago. It would criminalize the use of public funds for the American Library Association.
My recommendation is to not take any action other than to vote no on this bill.
I believe that there's issues on the left side that want to expose children to these ideas and want to encourage these ideas in children, and they also want to alienate children from their parents. And this is classic Marxist theory, and the head of the American Library Association has admitted that she is a Marxist and that she is using her position to push her Marxist agenda to children.
I didn't know that tweets more than 2 years old and long since auto-deleted would continue to animate the vanishingly small number of people who stand in opposition to libraries. That my public lectures would be screen recorded and subsequently mocked in online spaces. I don't know who's recording me now. You know, I gotta operate as if that's happening. that my face would show up on PowerPoint slides at a library board meeting in a part of Louisiana I've never visited and never even heard of. That a library director in a small parish in that state would have her emails FOIA'd for evidence that she and I were plotting together. Never met her.
One of the covenants of communism is to separate children from parents, to separate communities of interest, to eliminate religion, to eliminate all of the things that bring us together as a community other than the government, so that the government can control everything. And unfortunately, they've decided to go after our children to do this.
From city to city, an incredible hysterical panic spread. As the unimaginable becomes real, they come from another world to take over the bodies and souls of the people of our planet.
Where do they come from? I don't know.
They've been co-opted. They've been co-opted into this movement unwillingly.
They'll absorb your minds, your memories.
And most of which unknown to them.
They're here already! You're next!
The war on libraries has always been part of a larger war against multiculturalism and liberal values. In Missouri, where Christian nationalists are in power, one can glimpse the future where librarians are criminalized. And they are only the first victims.
Punished because of books. A new Missouri law goes into effect on Sunday. It limits the reading materials distributed at private and public school libraries.
Outlawed are books containing anything that is considered sexually explicit.
So these are the books that we've removed from our high school library because of SB 775.
SB 775 gets real specific with how it puts language into effect, how it uses language. And it does it in a way that makes the law, in my opinion, confusing and difficult to interpret, which is why we see it interpreted wildly differently across the state in schools and districts.
Missouri State Senator Rick Bratton added an amendment to this bill which would make it a Class A misdemeanor if anyone provides visually explicit sexual material to a student.
SB 775 does not use the word pornography when it's talking about materials in school libraries and in schools. It specifically creates new language, because if it would say pornography, that would be it. There would be no problem. There is no pornography in any school library. So it would not be an issue, but instead it creates new language, new definitions to then make it so that librarians and other educators get confused and afraid and overreact in many cases to this particular law.
Penalty for breaking the law is a Class A misdemeanor, punishable by up to a year in jail and a $2,000 fine.
But with that, this becomes a sexual offense. And then you are on the sex offenders list, and then you lose your teaching license. So the repercussions are so much larger than the way they've painted this. So yes, librarians are afraid to purchase anything that they think might get them in trouble.
The way that we interpret that law is we can't even have them on campus. They cannot be potentially available to students. So these normally sit at my house, but today they're here with me in the car, but I won't take them into the building. But these are the 3 books that have come off the shelves. So we have Genderqueer, and this one is one that many people have talked about. But this is taken off of our shelves because of a couple of specific images, not because of the story, but because of a couple of specific images that we feel make it possibility to be in violation of the law. The last one is The Handmaid's Tale. This is the graphic novel version. So the novel still sits on the shelf, still in the library, but the graphic novel version has been pulled out because this law deals with visual material. And this image where the handmaid is being raped is the one that we feel may be in violation of that law. So this book is also one that has been taken out of circulation.
I was asleep before. That's how we let it happen. When they slaughtered Congress, we didn't wake up. When they blamed terrorists and suspended the Constitution, we didn't wake up then either.
The irony is incredible because this book describes a dystopian vision of America that we're now beginning to live in.
There's an irony that this is a book that we felt is in violation of this law, and we weren't the only district that pulled this book, likely because of that same image. And this is what I was saying earlier, that it gets so problematic because librarians don't have the ability to sit here and go through every page of a book to see if one particular image might be in violation of that law.
This is what I will do to the growing books when I become Secretary of State.
Valentina Gomez, burning books she says grooms kids. The books in question, Queer, Ultimate LGBTQ Guide for Teens, and Naked.
I'm going to defund all the libraries that are having LGBTQ, DEI, critical race theory material in the children's section.
Valentina Gomez might never make it to the Missouri government in the November election.
A former Marine, Rick Bratton, is a conservative fighter. Just like President Trump, he won't back down.
Rick Bratton was elected to the Missouri Senate 4 years ago.
Our faith, values, and freedom are under attack. As a United States Marine, I swore an oath to protect and defend the Constitution, and that oath never expires.
Rick Bratton is the only candidate endorsed by Missouri Right to Life and rated A+ by the NRA. Vote conservative Republican Rick Bratton for state senate.
You're the one who inserted an amendment banning explicit visual material into a completely different bill. Why?
Oh, sure. You know, and I know a lot of people think, oh, you're banning books. No, it's all about age-appropriate content. It's about children accessing things that is well beyond what they should be accessing. Children have a right to their innocence, and we have an obligation to protect that.
I always hear them say we need to protect the children, and I'll say, from what? I'll say, give me a title. Tell me a title right now. They never can give you a title.
Which novel, by the way, are pornographic?
Oh, there's a laundry list of them, and I'd be happy to provide those for you guys. I mean, I don't have the books right here in front of me.
Give me a title. If somebody tells you that there is pornography or something that's going to affect children in the library, ask them a title. If they can't give you a title, there's nothing there. Nobody could ever give titles.
You have a list of the books?
Yes, we have a list of books that especially parents have brought to us that are in schools that they're outraged about.
I've asked them point blank, come show me. Come show me in this library. They can't show you. Well, we heard. You heard from where?
If you attack books, you attack people. Because those books are their voices. Those are the way their stories are being told. We need to learn about and have acceptance of other cultures as well. If we're never allowed to read a story that represents someone who we're not, then we have a very limited view of the world.
The attack against books with transgender stories was followed by attacks against the subjects of those stories. Missouri legislators now aim to criminalize anyone who aids transgender children, from educators to their doctors and even their parents.
This was a tough week and a sad week for a lot of Missourians, a lot of kids who just are misunderstood. Kids that my colleagues don't know who they are, don't know what their life is like, don't know what their medical issues are, don't know what the process of fixing those are, yet they banned as much as they could.
Daniel Bogard was the father of 2 twin girls. until one of them felt she was different.
From really the first moments that my son could express anything about himself or choose anything, he was choosing boy stuff. He's got a twin sister who was always into purple and pink and unicorns and sparkles, and from the very earliest ages, he wanted nothing to do with that. He wanted trucks and boy clothes, and almost immediately after that, he started asking for a short boy's haircut. He looked at us right afterwards and he said, "I'm a boy." And that was it.
Good morning, everyone. It's so good to see you. It's so great to be here this morning. We're glad that all the churches and synagogues are here this morning.
The first thing that you learn, it is the first thing that you learn when you love a trans young person and you live in a red state, is that you have to protect them from their government. The first people I told that my kid was trans, before we told his grandparents, before we told his rabbis, before we told his friends, we told the General Laws Committee of the Missouri House, because we knew immediately that we had to protect him. The first people I told were Pharaoh. There's this story in the Zohar, the ancient mystical text of the Jewish people, that says that when you entered into Pharaoh's palace, it was like a snake coiled in itself, that every step you took was deeper and deeper into supernal evil. And this is what it feels like when you walk into our state capital in Jeff City. It feels like you are walking into Pharaoh's palace. We leave at 4:30 in the morning to drive 2 hours so that we can have 2 minutes to beg them to stop terrorizing our kids and our families. So for the last few years, I've been going to the Capitol over and over again each session. It's incredibly frustrating to go down there and get 2 minutes at best to beg our representatives just to leave us alone. My name is Rabbi Daniel Bogard. I'm a rabbi of one of the largest Jewish communities here in the state of Missouri. I'm a parent of a 10-year-old trans boy, and I am here because I am fighting desperately to be able to stay in my home and not have to flee this state. But the thing to understand is that it's actually surprisingly easy to be a parent to a trans kid. The hard part, I mean it, the only hard part we have experienced is you all.
You sponsored the ban of explicit sexual imagery in books. You are behind the legislation banning any help to transgender children. Is there a connection in your eyes?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're talking children. Again, we don't consent to children smoking cigarettes, getting tattoos on their face, playing in the street on their own, driving cars, taking out mortgages, because they're not, competent and capable to be able to give consent to that. They're not capable of that. So why is it with this one issue that all of a sudden, oh, hey, little Jimmy or Susie that's 4 years old, they know that, they're a different gender, and we're going to not only, come alongside you, we're going to mutilate you and give you medication that's going to permanently scar you forever. And I'm a father of 5, and I can tell you, I know that children don't have the mental wherewithal to be able to make these sort of decisions that affect them the rest of their lives. And they need to be protected, not utilized as a prop to advance an ideology that's going to detrimentally harm them forever.
Last year, Missouri joined 23 other states in restricting transgender kids from participating in school sports.
There were literally more bills in the Missouri legislature last year trying to prevent trans kids from playing sports with their friends than there are trans kids in the state of Missouri who have asked to participate in high school athletics. This is not a real issue. It doesn't exist as a political reality. It's just a bludgeon that Republican legislators can use to really distract the public while they steal the levers of democracy.
Gentlemen, this is the only issue that I take personally. And I've made it clear that we can agree to disagree and still love each other and still move forward. Unless, and I'm not the first person to say this, this came from James Baldwin, unless the root of our disagreement is in my right to exist. And that's what you're doing with this legislation. I was afraid of people like you growing up, and I grew up in Hickory County, Missouri. I grew up in a school district that would vote tomorrow to put this in place. And for 18 years, I walked around with nice people like you who took me to ball games, who told me how smart I was, and who went to the ballot and voted for crap like this. And I couldn't wait to get out. I couldn't wait to move to a part of our state that would reject this stuff in a minute. I couldn't wait. And thank God I made it. Thank God I made it out, and I think every day of the kids who are still there, who haven't made it out, who haven't escaped from this kind of bigotry. Gentlemen, I'm not afraid of you anymore, because you're gonna lose. You may win this today, but you're going to lose. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
There are certain individuals in our state who do not have rights. Women who are pregnant, for instance, do not have the right to seek the care that they might need through the course of their pregnancy. Children who are LGBT, especially our transgender children, are not able to seek the health care that they need, are not able to use the names and the pronouns that they want to use in school, or not able to read the books that they want to read in school. And so that's the goal and the aim of some of the people I work with, is to make sure, frankly, that they don't exist, so that they don't have the same rights that they have.
The Bible, Scripture, is paramount to the things that we advance. It is to me. I am a born-again Christian, but so were our founders. The very framework of our nation was inspired by that. It was people of faith, and it culminated in our form of government.
Do you think America should be an exclusively Christian country?
Yes, but I think that it should be a Christian country.
We have many that say we're a secular humanist nation. That's emphatically false. You can look at our national heritage and see that that's not the case. That's why we see such a cultural divide. I can no more separate my faith than I can oxygen, from the breath that I take.
The right path is to keep America a Christ-like America. And the man for the mission is Trump. So we need to follow Trump.
Wow, thank you. My fellow Americans, our movement is far from over. In fact, our fight has only just begun. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God.
There are so many Christian nationalists who do not think democracy is a sacred value. For them, they have a God-given right to rule the nation. They are the heirs of the American founding. And if they can't reach power and maintain power by voting, by democratic processes, then they're willing to overstep those bounds and take power any way possible. Loving a trans kid in a red state, you immediately realize you have to protect them from their government. Every loving parent of a trans kid that I know in a red state is up at night scared that the government is going to come for their kids. In the state of Texas right now, and to a different level in Florida, social services, family services is being sent out by the Attorney General, by the governor, to open investigations of child abuse of parents who are just following the best advice of their doctors.
New tonight, despite moving out of Texas, some families with kids who are transgender are under investigation for alleged child abuse, even after leaving the state of Texas.
I had 6 or 7 death threats last year of my life, and so there was often a police officer outside of my home. And I was never scared, I don't know why, but I was never scared of being murdered. The fear was always what happens when that same police officer instead comes to my door to try to take my kid.
Amanda, so what is all this stuff?
So this is my stuff that we had for our Battle of the Books today.
What is the Battle of the Books?
We had 10 schools come today, and we had a competition where we were competing, the students were competing in trivia questions about all of the books. And we had 12 titles, and we had 5 kids from each school, and so they came and they answered trivia questions about all of the books they read. And then we also had an author visit. So we had an author visit, they had t-shirts, we had pizza, we had free books giveaway, all of that. It was really fun. Yeah. So part of the prizes for the kids for getting to come, our local bookstore brought free books. So every kid got to pick 2 books, and we had a big table and every kid got to go through and pick 2 free books. And they also got gift certificates to the local bookstore. We had trophies, we had ribbons. Every kid got pizza and Coke, and we played games. It was just a really good time. We were here for about 3 hours.
Where is the pornography books in the package?
That would be nowhere. That would be never, anywhere. You can see it's all books written for children.